Hi, welcome to the final day of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society virtual event series. I'm Steve Barnett, President and a past scholar of the Society. Thank you for joining us for this awards ceremony. I'm really excited about this event because I feel it is more important than ever that we celebrate success while we recognize the challenging times that we have all been facing. Over the next 90 minutes, today's program will give our returning scholars their chance to shine as they share their year-end films with us. That will be followed by our good friends from Divers Alert Network, who will announce the DAN Rolex Diver of the Year Award. Then I'll return to introduce the incoming 2021 class of Society Interns, and finally, we will finish off the event with the awards presentations for the 2021 Rolex Scholars. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge a big challenge the Society has faced and the opportunities that have been presented as we approach this new year. The Society awarded its first scholarship in 1974 to Mark Benson, and 2020 is the first time in the Society's 47-year history that we have not put scholars or interns in the field. I personally never realized how much I lived vicariously by following the scholars and interns' adventures. But there is good news. The Society is entering the year with new energy and is working with our hosts and sponsors to safely introduce our incoming 2021 Scholars and Interns back into the field. We even have recipients who've already started on their journeys. Another great thing that has come out of all of this is this virtual event series. In past years, the symposium presentations and this awards ceremony were limited to a small gathering just in New York City. With this virtual event, we've been joined by viewers from around the world. And we're not limited to just a couple of days. The recordings of these events will continue to live on our YouTube channel. So if you've missed any of the symposium presentations, you can go check them out after today's ceremony. Now, we will hear from our returning 2019 scholars about their amazing adventures during their scholarship year. I wish to introduce to you our returning 2019 North American Rolex Scholar, Ms. Neha Acharya Patel.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I made this film way back in the early days of the pandemic, and I titled it Thriving in Uncertainty, because life is full of uncertainty. And as a person forging my path, this scholarship truly allowed me to see the many possibilities. This title also turned out to be very poignant, as we have all had to learn how to deal with uncertainty over the last year. Regardless, please enjoy this brief compilation of my scholarship year, undoubtedly one of the best years of my life.
My name is Neha Acharya Patel, and I have had the honor of being the 2019 North American Rolex Scholar of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. During this uncertain time, we are witnessing our planet changing around us at an ever-increasing pace. Even before the worldwide pandemic that has affected all of our lives, I knew that I wanted to build this video around the concept of uncertainty. The Rolex Scholarship takes a young person unsure about their path in the context of underwater exploration and helps them to focus it. So just as the world is having to do right now, I have spent this last year learning how to thrive in uncertainty. I have a deep love and fascination for our oceans, and I know I want to dedicate my life to their protection. In this time of anthropogenic change, gaining a broader understanding of the variety of challenges being faced by the marine environment is imperative to make any changes that can be productive on a larger scale. I was hoping to use this scholarship opportunity to expose myself to a plethora of different perspectives that would ultimately allow me to find a way to focus my energy meaningfully in the future. This year, I have done over 180 dives in 9 different countries, working on so many projects with people of various backgrounds. I also pursue training to increase my diving proficiency and subtitle skill set. While I was in La Paz, I joined Luke Inman of Cortez Expeditions for my PADI 40 and 45 courses that introduced me to the principles of planning and executing decompression dives with different gas mixes. We spent days in the classroom to make sure theory was hammered in before getting into the water to practice safety drills. Making sure safe procedures are habit is key before embarking below the point where you have a decompression ceiling. I loved increasing my understanding of diving physiology on this level, and I'm excited to dive more with this new skill set. On the other end of the spectrum, I wanted to try diving tankless. Performance Freediving Academy invited me to Kona for a rigorous 3 weeks of freediving training, from an intermediate freediver all the way up to freediving instructor. Seeing my mental and physical progression throughout the training was transformative for me, and I am constantly astonished at what our bodies and minds are capable of. I ended up with a personal best of 45 meters in free immersion and a newfound passion, and I'm looking forward to instructing and diving in the future. Further increasing my instructing capabilities, I traveled to Stuart, Florida, to the headquarters of international training. I joined ITI's Jesse Iacono for an intense week of classroom, pool, and ocean training sessions to gain my scuba instructor certification. Throughout the course, I could feel my perspective shift as I started seeing the skills and concepts I understood so well in clear, broken down components that made them easier to teach. I am so looking forward to sharing my love for scuba with new divers. Though the Rolex Scholarship technically revolves around diving, one of my greatest passions, I found that I have gained so much from what I have learned about the oceans, about differing global mindsets, about myself, and about people and how they interact with the world around them. Comunidad y Biodiversidad, an NGO I worked with in Mexico, was a prime example of the intersection of human cooperation. We went on a road trip to the fishing communities of the Vizcaíno Peninsula in Baja California to retrieve, reinstall, and download data from oxygen and temperature sensors, which you can see me doing here. This data is in turn used by scientists, policymakers, and the fishers alike to make decisions to increase the sustainability of their fisheries. When data is open and accessible to anyone who needs it, collaboration is enabled across livelihoods, communities, and research on a global scale. Ocean Networks Canada is another organization I worked with that focused on making science and data accessible. I joined them to update and maintain their year-round observatory in Iqaluit Nunavut in Canada's Arctic. This observatory provides a 24/7 live stream of environmental data to anybody who is interested in using it. This is an amazing tool to make evidence-based decisions, as well as narrow the gap between academia and the communities that are being directly affected by climate change, like here in the Canadian Arctic. I loved stepping out of my field of expertise to learn about the techniques being used to study this poorly understood part of our ocean. The Arctic Research Foundation also studies this area here in the Central Arctic. I joined a group of oceanographers and biologists upon my first research cruise ever. We were trying to understand why the isolated hotspots of biological productivity are where they are. I loved the multidisciplinary nature of their research. being able to separate and identify the factors that make one spot in the ocean more productive than another allow us to make smart decisions when it comes to choosing where to put protected areas. For example, the Neptune Islands are a hugely important protected area here in South Australia because they are home to one of Australia's largest breeding colonies of New Zealand fur seals. I wasn't there to see these cuties, however. I was there to visit their predators, the epic great white sharks. Joining longtime scholarship supporter Rodney Fox Shark Expeditions, I embarked on 3 weeks of trips to the Neptune Islands, working as crew and taking visitors down in a cage to dive with these amazing animals in their domain. They are awe-inspiring. Sharks have luckily gone from being public enemy number one to emblems for marine conservation, and with their agility and grace in the water, you can see why. This brings me to another important spot for shark conservation, Mexico's Revillagigedo Archipelago, the largest marine protected area in North America. This place has been a dream diving destination of mine for years. A group of 4 islands sticking out of the Pacific Ocean, it is an important spot for aggregation for sharks, like this scalloped hammerhead, oceanic mantas, and other megafauna like dolphins and whale sharks. I joined a citizen science expedition aboard Dora Sandoval's Kino liveaboard to tag sharks and take tissue samples of the oceanic manta rays, which you can see me doing here. Mauricio Hoyos, taking ID photographs, is a leading shark scientist in Mexico with his organization Pelagios Cacunha. Using shark tagging and acoustic telemetry, they established that many of these shark species move in the areas between and around the island. This information was instrumental in establishing protection for the area surrounding the entire archipelago. As a passionate marine conservationist, this project allowed me to address one of the many ways science can directly impact conservation decisions. It also allowed me to see firsthand the effects that protection can have on the vitality of an ecosystem. For example, Raja Ampat, Indonesia, is a global center for biodiversity that is thriving today as almost 45% of the area is protected. Stacy Tai, the 1980 North American Rolex Scholar, invited me here to learn about protection enforcement and responsible tourism. I spent 2 weeks with the local park service and tourism operators diving and talking about the environmental issues that come with increased tourism. While here, I also joined an NGO building coral recruitment structures with the local community. The reefs here are susceptible to physical damage from boat and human traffic, so these stabilizing structures can help with growth. I helped to develop a monitoring protocol so that this coral growth can be monitored over the years. Monitoring programs such as these are super important now as global ocean conditions are changing so rapidly. Establishing baselines can help us quantify change and potentially alleviate its effects. I helped the Oceanwise Vancouver Aquarium with their ecological monitoring program in the Canadian Arctic. We did various surveys cataloging the species we encountered, like this Arctic spiny lumpsucker, and collected animals for their exhibits. The Arctic is warming at twice the rate of the global average. In fact, the polar regions are particularly susceptible to warming effects because the ice that has buffered them for millennia is now melting earlier and refreezing later every year. In the southern hemisphere, the Antarctic Peninsula and its islands are showing fast rates of change as well. Because of this, it is all the more important to attempt to understand ecosystem functioning now. My final experience of the year was one of my highlights. I joined some Chilean scientists to study the microbial communities of Antarctic sponges on the Shetland Islands. We dove in icy waters to collect 3 different species of sponge to sample for genetic studies. Sponges can cover up to 80% of the sea floor in these waters, and they, with their microbes, are key ecosystem engineers via water filtration and nutrient cycling, among other processes. It is wild how much a sponge can affect its whole ecosystem. Understanding their influences will help us to predict how the rest of the system will shift with the changing climate. Two of my aims for the year were to explore potential research pathways and to contribute meaningfully to marine conservation. As an aspiring scientist who wants to work to protect the sea, this year has allowed me to witness the seemingly infinite number of ways that science intersects so seamlessly with conservation applications. So I will be starting grad school in the fall using novel genetic techniques to assess ecosystem health. I also aim to stay wet by continuing my work research diving and employing my new capabilities to instruct scuba and freediving. Most importantly, the scholarship has provided me a novel opportunity for self-development. I have emerged with so much more confidence in myself, strength to pursue my goals, and the ability to communicate effectively. From imagery to writing to just being able to speak openly with people from a diversity of backgrounds, I have ended the year so much stronger than when I began. Thank you so much to Rolex and the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society for supporting me. I am so excited to continue along the path to be a truly responsible advocate for my one true love, the sea. The future is uncertain by definition, and though that can be overwhelming at times, there is beauty in not knowing where our path will lead. As long as we work together for our common goal to protect what we love, I know we will be able to thrive in uncertainty.
Who would have thought that such a cute little guy could make such a noise? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my story. I am now in graduate school working with environmental DNA and designing molecular tools to assess ecosystem health. The researchers I met during the year definitely helped with these decisions in my path. But don't worry, I still spend a lot of time underwater. I have been doing some research diving trips and have also started to instruct freediving here on Vancouver Island. Finally, I would again like to express my gratitude to those who made this experience possible for me. I'm so grateful to the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society for selecting me to represent them. And I would also like to thank Rolex and all of the other sponsors for their support of this priceless opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha, for your beautiful film. You have definitely done a terrific job of learning how to thrive in uncertainty. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce to you our returning 2019 European Rolex Scholar, Ms. Kim Hildebrandt.
Hello, everybody. Today, I would like to present to you a film about my year as the European Rolex Scholar, which has been dedicated to the concept of One Health, recognizing the interconnections between human, animal, and environmental health. Please enjoy.
The ocean. Such a vast, wondrous environment. A wild, fascinating place. It can be so generous, giving, peace-bringing. But at times, it can also be so unforgiving and uncontrollable. But no matter where in the oceans of this world, there are creatures, so many of them, of such different shape, size, color, and from very different classes of the animal kingdom. What they all have in common, though, is that they have all evolved over millions of years to withstand or even benefit from the conditions of the sea. Their bodies have established amazing adaptations to the marine environment, and they have developed such fascinating life strategies for foraging, reproduction, or simply the sheer survival in harsh environments, such as the icy polar regions or rough seas. When you hear all this, the ocean seems invincible. These animals seem invincible too. But are they really? Undoubtedly, they have become one with their environment, the ocean, forming an interdependent relationship with it, each contributing a critical key function within their ecosystem. They depend so much on the balance in these systems. But through anthropogenic impact, the balance is shifting progressively faster, day by day, undeniably. Thus, the well-being of the ocean and these animals, in fact, is quite vulnerable. This past year, I have learned so much about the ocean, and I have been lucky enough to experience so many fascinating species of animals in person. I have seen them demonstrate incredible performances, but I have also realized how vulnerable they and the balance in the ocean environment actually is. But let's start from the beginning. My name is Kim Hildebrand. I'm a passionate scuba diver, quite an animal lover, and a veterinary medicine student by heart. I've always been very curious about the ocean environment, especially since I split the surface and took my first breath underwater. That was in 2013 in New Zealand, where I learned diving through a school program called the Marine Academy, while an exchange year at high school abroad. What has always fascinated me the most, though, was the marine megafauna and how well these animals have adapted to their environment. Simultaneously, I started wondering, though, how these animals would cope with the increasing challenges they face nowadays. Always having wanted to be a veterinarian, I started wondering also if there was a way to combine these two passions professionally in the future for myself. And that was when I was given the incredible and life-changing opportunity to represent the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society as the 2019 European Rolex Scholar. In the last year, I have been given the incredible chance to explore my deepest interests while traveling to and diving on all 7 continents and 16 countries in total. It truly has been a journey of self-discovery. I have been seeking an exposure to familiar as well as formerly unknown fields in the underwater realm, in order to find where I would fit in as a puzzle piece, and to be able to set a clearer bearing for the future. All with a strong passion for animals in my heart, and a basic principle in my mind. There's one connected ocean. There is one health, and we all depend on it. The broadest realization I have had throughout the last 12 months is that there are indeed so many different fields out there that in the end contribute to the advancement of aquatic animals' well-being. There are so many incredibly dedicated people out there, each contributing a part towards this same goal, and I feel so grateful to have had the opportunity to get to know them and to even work with them. People who have been showing and sharing their passions with me every day, and people who have inspired me deeply. First and foremost, of course, it was my primary goal to visit a number of outstanding institutions in the field of aquatic animal medicine, rescue and rehabilitation. Throughout the last year, I have been able to work alongside and shadow leading veterinarians in this field, in 8 different rescue centers and aquariums with rescue programs. While doing so, I have developed a large amount of valuable new knowledge, as well as practical skills in the handling, diagnostics, medicine, and rehabilitation of one reptile, one bird, one cetacean, one mustelid, and numerous pinniped and shark species. While working with these institutions, I also realized that especially charismatic marine megafauna has the strong ability to wake emotions and sympathy. By educating the general public about these animals, and by openly communicating about the threats they face, as well as critical rescue and rehabilitation efforts, which need to be undertaken in the centers, there's a great potential to inspire change in these people. I, at least, have had my eyes opened on many occasions, and my aspiration for a career in this field has truly grown exponentially throughout the year. Secondly, I have been able to learn from and assist marine researchers who document the current state of populations or who strive to learn more about the physiology and ecology of aquatic fauna in order to reveal the long-term impact that humans have on these precious organisms. While I have built important skills in the research avenue, I have also realized that the findings of these researchers go a long way and have the strong potential to eventually help drive forward the adequate protection of such marine species through the establishment of marine protected areas, the protection of the species itself, or through regulations in fisheries or other marine-related industries. Thirdly, I have discovered how powerful of a tool underwater imagery can be for the conservation of aquatic species by involving and inspiring those who don't have the chance to experience the underwater realm for themselves. By having had the chance to join and get exceptional instruction from leading underwater photographers and videographers throughout the last year, I have been able to practice and use newly learned skills in underwater media to communicate the science and work I was able to be of help in, as well as to share my fascination for the aquatic world in general. Lastly, while having been able to assist and learn firsthand from different responsible dive and wildlife tourism operations, I have witnessed the enthusiasm it sparks and followingly the change it can make in people's minds to experience up close the preciousness of the underwater environment. I have realized how important of a role these operations play in driving forward the understanding and appreciation of marine megafauna, and how much stronger of a connection it allows people to build when being educated about something that they have just seen in person. Throughout the year, because I have really learned to love seeing these emotions and realization in people's faces when being enabled to discover the wonders of the marine world firsthand, I have developed the wish to pursue the dive master and instructor certifications myself, to be able to add to this part of giving people something to take along as well. Only because I have been given the incredible chance to really improve my own dive skills by a tremendous amount throughout the year, diving in all sorts of environments and conditions, from diving in freezing waters, in overhead environments, low visibility and remote locations. I have eventually started to feel confident about my own diving enough so that it was a huge personal mental accomplishment for me turning into a scuba instructor next.
After all, it is to say that this past year of having been a Rolex Scholar has truly given me much more to take along for my future than just a huge amount of knowledge and valuable skill sets in different marine-related fields and diving.
While having been gifted an even stronger enthusiasm about the underwater world, it has helped me realize even more that there is a strong connectivity between the marine fauna, the marine environment, and us humans. And thus, how important it is to protect the balance between these interdependent worlds. There's one ocean, there's one health after all. Nevertheless, above all, this year has gifted me the confidence that everybody, including myself, can contribute their part to a positive change. With all this in mind and so many new skills in my pocket, I believe I can courageously pursue whatever path my future will lead me onto. It will surely take months, maybe even years, to realize in its full extent how incredibly much this year has given to me. Finally, there's nothing else left to say than a heartfelt thank you to Rolex and the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society for this incredible chance. Words cannot express how grateful I am. Thank you also to all the amazing hosts who have shared their passions with me and taught me such important skills and lessons. Your generosity has truly inspired me deeply. And, of course, thank you to the awesome sponsors who have equipped me with the gear without which all these experiences wouldn't have been possible.
In the end, I would once more like to express my deepest gratitude toward the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society, Rolex, as well as all the amazing sponsors and the hosts who have had me so generously in the last year. Without you, all of these experiences wouldn't have been possible. Thank you so, so much. So just as a quick update about what I've been doing in the last year was that I returned into my degree of veterinary medicine and continued with it at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Hanover. Through the experiences I have been able to make, my aspiration to contribute to wildlife and ocean health has grown even more. For this reason, I'm planning on doing some longer externships in the fields of wildlife and conservation medicine, but also zoonosis research from this summer on, as I'm starting into my final clinical year then. I'm very excited and curious about what the future will bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, for your thought-provoking movie. We look forward to seeing your future contributions to the health of our oceans and its inhabitants. And now it's time to introduce to you our returning 2019 Australasian Rolex Scholar, Miss Joanna Smart.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in from wherever you are in the world. I hope you enjoy my video. It summarizes some of the amazing experiences I had during my time as the Australasian Rolex Scholar. I also hope it gives you hope for the future.
Looking back now, I realise how lucky I was. At the time, it seemed so normal to be in the water, swimming, snorkeling, and playing in the kelp. But that's not a normal childhood. It's a privilege. I got to experience an environment so few people get to see, and I will be forever grateful to my parents for showing me this world.
My name is Joanna Smart, and I'm the 2019 Australasian Rolex Scholar of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society.
The Our World Underwater Scholarship Society is a true testament to what can be achieved when we invest in our youth. By taking us enthusiastic and often inexperienced ocean advocates and throwing us out into the world, we are able to travel, to learn, to explore, and most importantly, to change our world underwater. Scuba diving has had such a big impact on me, and I wanted to make sure that these experiences were still possible for those to come.
So I set out on my scholarship journey to answer a question. What do we want the oceans to look like in 20 years? And what do we need to do now to get there?
This journey took me all over the world and to some unexpected and surprising places. Expanding my skills underwater was one of the most valuable parts of the scholarship. Scuba diving is my obsession, and I will happily dive in any temperature and any visibility whenever I can. I received the full range of conditions throughout my scholarship year, from crystal clear waters in Papua New Guinea to dark brown and ominous Scottish lochs.
Completing my PADI Advanced Rebreather on an AP Buddy inspiration with Pete Mesley of Lust for Rust Diving was an amazing experience.
Rebreathers were an amazing tool for exploration, but also for getting up close and personal with marine life. I really enjoyed having the Poor Nights in Tutukaka, New Zealand as a playground to learn this new type of diving.
Taking these diving skills and applying them to the real world was an incredibly exciting experience, and through this process I met some of the most amazing and passionate ocean advocates on the planet. Learning about shark tourism with Rodney Fox Expeditions and Benga Adventure Divers was a great lesson in how ecotourism can be harnessed as a tool for education to achieve positive conservation outcomes. I continued my underwater research experience with the University of Western Australia and their studies on the Great Southern Reef. Being able to visit the Catalina Hyperbaric Chamber with Carl Huggins was a fantastic experience in terms of diving safety and learning about what happens at the other end when things go wrong. From Carl, I learnt about diving safety from one of the leading experts in the field.
In order to understand what we might like a future ocean to look like, I travelled to some of the most remote and untouched parts of Papua New Guinea on board MV Oceania. This trip resulted in some of the most spectacular diving I have ever experienced. I was also fortunate to be hosted by the wonderful Max and Cecily Benjamin at Walindi Plantation Resort, where I was able to learn about their Mahoney and Nadari conservation program. The program offers hands-on reef and marine education to local school children, as well as facilities for visiting scientists. Since Mahoney started, its programs have reached more than 150,000 students, teachers, local communities, and other organisations.
I really wanted to learn how to take these stories from the sea and tell them to a broader audience. So in classic Our World Underwater Scholarship style, I started in the deep end and headed on assignment with National Geographic.
So Jen Hayes, David Duboulay, we're here on Lady Elliot as part of a National Geographic assignment. Hashtag Coral Status Science and Solution, documenting coral reefs all over the world.
Lady Elliot Island is the southernmost of all the Great Barrier Reef islands and coral reefs. It is a success story. The coral here is alive. It is populated by extraordinary creatures such as mantas and turtles.
From David and Jennifer, I learnt that documenting what goes on below the surface is not so much of a science, but an art form. It requires an understanding not only of the environment that you're in, but also the creative ability to tell a story. Going on assignment with National Geographic was a real privilege and one of the highlights of my scholarship year.
Underwater photography has not only been a passion of mine for many years, but it's also a great tool to tell stories about the underwater world. I was incredibly lucky to be supported by Reef Photo and Video, Nauticam, Light and Motion and Paralens to expand upon my underwater photography skills. Learning how to take better photos and video underwater and to tell more effective stories would have been very hard to achieve without the support of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. I look forward to taking these skills with me into the future.
For me, all these experiences in diving, research and photography really came together when I was able to take these skills and apply them to businesses that work at the forefront of marine science.
One of the most creative of these projects can be found on the seafloor of Italy. Nemo's garden started with an idea. Would it be possible to grow terrestrial plants underwater? Since then, the project has evolved to include 6 underwater biospheres. These are home to a variety of terrestrial plants. The biospheres produce their own fresh water through condensation, are powered by wind and solar energy, and can successfully grow everything from basil to strawberries. Continuing the theme of underwater farming, I travelled to the remote and rugged Faroe Islands for a taste of seaweed farming. Oliver Gregerson and his team at Ocean Rainforest have an innovative approach to seaweed cultivation. Their business seeds, grows, harvests and processes their own seaweeds. They also participate in a variety of projects, including the development of offshore farming. Whilst aquaculture might not be the most glamorous of fields, I truly believe that seaweeds are underrated. Ensuring the sustainable development of aquaculture is one of the most valuable things we can do to ensure a positive future for our oceans. My time at Ocean Rainforest was a great lesson in how research, innovation and business can combine to develop a sustainable economy. I made the journey to Oban in Scotland to learn more about how science and business can combine. Tritonia Scientific is a scientific diving agency, hyperbaric therapy provider and research centre. They have a global reputation for using innovative methods to support underwater exploration. I was amazed to see a team that fully integrates so many areas of research, skill sets and operations. I have never come across a business who offered so many different services and conducted them with such joy and enthusiasm.
I continued my exploration of science and business in the United States, joining the team at Blue Latitudes.
Blue Latitudes is a women-owned marine environmental consulting firm, and our company was grown out of our graduate program at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, where we were studying the feasibility of the Rigs to Reefs program in California. And it grew from there. So now we work on consulting for a variety of offshore structures, but principally on the Rigs to Reefs program here in California and all over the world.
What our company does is we're really focused on thinking about ocean conservation differently, because we are using our ocean, and instead of ignoring all of that that's going on and creating these very select marine protected areas that are, pristine and are only pristine areas, maybe there's only one in an entire state. What we are looking to do is find a way to conserve our ocean on a larger, more holistic level, and work with industry to get these concepts into their brains about understanding the value of the ecosystem that they're reaping financial benefit from.
What we've found is that working together, reaching across the aisle, talking to oil and gas, talking to scientists, talking to regulators, that's the best way to open doors.
There is hope, because you can know as an individual that you have this power as a consumer to make choices that can enact change.
The team at Blue Latitudes really caused me to rethink what is possible for young women in marine science and industry. I learnt that with confidence, passion and determination, anything is possible.
I think that combined, all these experiences taught me that we don't simply walk into a better world, we create one. It is our responsibility to incorporate consideration for the natural environment into our economies and our future.
I hope for a positive future for our oceans, one where science and business can combine for the sustainable use of resources, and where the health and well-being of our natural environment is at the core of everything we do. I have hope that perspectives are changing, that our environmental consciousness is evolving, and that we all share a passion for a better tomorrow, regardless of where we come from.
I think the Rolex Scholarship has not only given me the opportunity to see the world and learn from all these incredible people, but it's also given me the opportunity to find my voice and to use that voice to speak up for what I believe in. My scholarship year may be over, but my journeys underwater are only just beginning. I feel that I still have a mountain to climb, but the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society has gotten me to the base and given me all the tools that I need to get up.
We would all like to think that our relationship with the sea is special or in some way unique, but the sea doesn't care for us. She has broken and crashed upon our shores well before we existed, and will continue to do so long after we are gone. The world I'm finishing my year in is a very different one to that which I started, but I have hope. I have hope because I've seen how many people care about our world underwater. All of the people who have shared their knowledge, their passion and their homes with me are actively working to ensure the ocean is looked after, sustainably utilised and appreciated. And this is what gives me the most hope of all.
I believe in nature-based solutions.
I believe in the power of people to work together to overcome our obstacles.
I believe in humankind's capacity for ingenuity and creativity.
Ocean needs champions, our world treasures.
I believe in the power of collective human empathy and innovation for our oceans.
I believe in the strength and resilience of nature and its capacity for recovery.
We have hope because our oceans are powerful and resilient.
Innovation and technology gives me hope for the future.
Sunsets like this give me hope.
By improving the standard of diver training and diver education, we can help to minimize the impact we have on our underwater world.
Keep calm and dive on.
What gives me hope for the oceans is all the passionate people out there trying to protect it.
I believe in creating a rainforest of the ocean by cultivating seaweed.
My hope is that Joanna and all past Rolex scholars will be leaders in their chosen field and continue to protect the oceans for the future.
I have hope for this planet because in my lifetime, I have seen marine protected areas work.
We have seen all over the world that if you protect something, it can prosper. We have a choice. Protect the planet.
morning saw my darling out the window when leaves were falling. Went outside and started talking till the evening, the sun was falling. I pulled her towards me in that moment, and we don't care if the record player's broken. So groove, groove in the moonlight, just me and you tonight. Now move your body with mine, and we gon' dance until the sunrise, until the sunrise. Driving on the highway when cars were honking. We pulled over, started walking, people dancing and traffic stopping.
Since my scholarship year, I've been expanding my photo and video skills underwater. I've also been expanding my technical diving skills, heading down towards 60 metres, and I've been working in environmental consulting. I'd like to thank the Scholarship Society for making this experience possible, as well as all of my hosts and sponsors. I can really say that the Scholarship Society has changed my life.
Thank you, Joanna, for your inspiring film. You, along with your fellow scholars and interns, definitely give us hope for the future of our oceans. Once again, I'd like to thank Neha, Kim, and Joanna for their incredible films and for being tremendous ambassadors of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society throughout their travels. It is now my pleasure to recognize our 2019 interns for their outstanding presentations during yesterday's Intern Symposium. The returning 2019 interns are Liza Hassan, who is the AAUS Mitchell Scientific Diving Research Intern. Kira Jean Cipolla, who is the Dr. Lee H. Summers AAUS Scientific Diving Intern. Abby Dias, who is the DAN Diver Safety Education Intern. Michael Langhans, who is the National Park Service Intern. And Ben Farmer, who is the Dr. Jamie L. King Reef Marine Conservation Intern.
Hi, my name is Ted Janolis. I'm the 1981 scholarship recipient. By coincidence, I'm standing in the same courtyard where I graduated 40 years ago, plus or minus a week, before heading off to Chicago and onto my Our World Underwater scholarship year. The people who met me, took care of me, taught me during that year are different than the ones doing that today. Today, those names are different, but the passion and commitment and caring remains the same. So as we head towards our 50th year as an organization, we not only have to take action in the present and plan for the future, we also have to reflect on our past and express gratitude for those who have built this organization to get to where it is today. Paul Schutt was one of those people. He passed away very recently at the age of 83, but for many years he was a stalwart supporter and absolute pillar of the Our World Underwater organization. Many of us knew him as the founder and owner of Helix cameras, but also because of his incredible and consistent generosity and commitment to the program. Many of us have fond memories of Paul, and I'd like to share briefly just two. First, during my scholarship year, I decided I would make an underwater comedy film, knowing absolutely nothing about how to do that. But because I didn't know what I was doing, it turned out that I shot the entire film at the wrong speed. So when I came back from the laboratory, people were moving twice as fast as they should have been in the film. It turned out people really liked this and they thought it was funny and told me it was a brilliant thing to do. And I said, okay. I was not the exception though. Paul was always generous with people, always supporting people, always taking risks, investing them, which is the very spirit of the scholarship. My second memory is that at the end of my scholarship year, like so many, I said, wouldn't it be great if you could keep doing this? Paul enabled me to do that, in fact, by hiring me at Helix, and ultimately I moved in with him, got to know him much better over the coming year. I saw him work incredibly long hours at Helix, always with the same boyish enthusiasm, demonstrating new camera techniques and features to customers. Whatever it was that he had to do, he did it with a real energy, joy, and drive. He was a remarkable man. I was always surprised and enthralled by his breadth and depth of knowledge. An incredibly important part of Paul's life for the last 32 years has been his wonderful marriage to Linda Shedd. The two of them shared so many passions and interests, from the great outdoors to Breckenridge, to wolves, to dogs, to astronomy. And you, of course, remember fondly Linda's incredible bread parties after our World Underwater weekends. And now we'd like to share with you some images that Linda was kind enough to provide for us. It's a way for us all to have a glimpse back into Paul's life and recognize him for his many accomplishments, achievements, and perhaps above all, his generosity of spirit. So to Linda and Paul's brother Jerry and family and friends, we offer our sincerest condolences. Paul, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for all that you did for the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society and for all of us as a group.
Thank you, Ted, for your thoughtful remarks about Paul. He'll be deeply missed. His dedication to the scholarship in the early years had a tremendous impact on the growth of the Society. 20 years ago, the Society expanded with the European Scholarship, and then again in 2007 with an Australasian Scholarship. With the induction of this year's class, we now have 106 scholars and 112 interns whose careers span the arts and sciences, exploration and education, medicine, law, governance, and more. They are definitely making a positive impact on the oceans and the world we live in. It is now my pleasure to pass the next portion of our award ceremony over to our friends from Divers Alert Network, an organization that is a tremendous supporter of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. Please allow me to introduce Mr. Bill Ziefel, President and CEO of DAN.
As the person selected to give the award, it's always an interesting process for me. Many of these people I know in one capacity or another, so for me that's extremely rewarding. Knowing these people, knowing the commitment that they've made, knowing how much they deserve the award they're getting, just being the person that's giving that award, it's a feeling that's hard to describe. The ones that are most interesting is someone who has done something really exceptional. We all look at it in awe, and you talk to them, you explain to them they've been given this award, and they're floored. They just have no idea. The genesis of the award actually goes back to Dan wanting to do more research. Rolex was at the front of the pack, if you will, seeing that their participation and helping Dan do the research is going to make the sport safer. It's been one of those things that's been a catalyst for so many things that you really can't identify all the, if you will, intangible ways that this award has helped dive safety. So I think the most special thing about the award is that it's a twofold award, right? So the recipient actually gets some acknowledgement for something that they've done during their career, which, we all like to have that recognition. So I think that's a big part of it. But just as important is the support that Rolex provides to Dan and to research and diving safety. So I think when the community at large looks at it, when scientists look at it, when there's so little funding out there for research, they truly appreciate what Rolex is doing, and I think collectively we all look at it and think that Rolex is making a difference by their support. And you have somebody like Rolex that steps up and says, this is important. It brings attention to it, and it draws in those individuals, and it actually helps us identify who's doing something, because a lot of these heroes, as everybody knows, they're unsung heroes, right? Nobody ever really talks about it. They're humble. They're not out there pounding their chest saying, I did this and that. Those are the people we want. So as we began to review the list of nominees that was presented, it became evident that even though a number of people had undertaken different initiatives during the year to move dive safety forward, the pandemic pretty much shut things down. And we started thinking a little bit bigger. So beyond what happened during 2020, what individual may have had an even greater contribution than we've recognized in the past?
Oh, Bill Ziefel called me up and informed me of the fabulous news. I'm completely honored by winning the DAN Rolex Award. I've seen a large number of people who are at the top of their field win it over the years, and I'm just ecstatic and delighted that I'm able to be considered in that category.
And I think one of the driving forces was that Richard, Dr. Moon, was so important to the early development of DAN and had never, in my view, received the type of recognition that he deserved. So as the conversation developed and we started having this conversation with others, it was kind of a universal decision that, yeah, here's a guy that probably, if you had to list the 2 or 3 people that were most instrumental in DAN becoming what it is today, he would be one of those.
Until DAN, emergency treatment of divers was a hit or miss. They often used to call us from all over the country, in fact the Caribbean, and we used to get transfers from the Caribbean to Duke. When I first got here, within a few weeks, we had a young lady who was transferred, couldn't walk, paraplegic, from Jamaica, and so that was, a major enlightenment to me as to how things could be improved.
Dr. Moon was one of those visionaries in the early days that realized we can create this emergency hotline, we can staff it with people who know about diving medicine, and we can help these people when they travel around the world. And it's that perseverance, along obviously with others here at DAN, that actually allowed DAN to become what it is today.
You know, we're surrounded by organizations and people who are making money, and obviously they'll tell you their product is the greatest in the world, but obviously there's a conflict of interest because they want to sell you something. But DAN has a head above it all reputation where there's no hidden agendas with DAN. It's an organization that is designed and dedicated to safety.
But Dr. Moon had one focus. That was his work. That was the divers. That was actually putting together a structure so that as time passed, we actually had the pieces in place to continue this beyond any one person or any one program. So I think that overall commitment, he knew what he wanted to do. He jumped in with both feet, and I don't think he's wavered that from day one. He is what you would think of as, you know, that hyperbaric diving medicine physician, and I can tell you, anybody that gets hurt, he's the guy you want at your bedside.
A guiding principle, I would say, is to do what's right. Do what's right for a patient, do what's right for one's colleagues, do what's right for one's family. And that principle, I think, will lead one down the right alley. One of our major tasks as senior people in any field is to help the next generation, and I really love doing that, and if the Rolex Award provides more opportunities for me to do that, I'll be absolutely ecstatic. I would just like to express my gratitude to those within DAN with whom I have the pleasure to work, and all of the previous individuals who are now doing other things. Thank them for the opportunity that DAN has given me to work in this area and hopefully push the field forward.
Dr. Moon, on behalf of Rolex, myself, and the entire DAN organization, the staff at DAN, and not just the current ones, but the ones you helped mentor over the last 30 years, we thank you for your service, and we are excited to acknowledge your accomplishments with this Lifetime Achievement Award as the DAN Rolex 2021 Diver of the Year. Congratulations, you are a true professional.
Thank you, Bill. Dr. Moon, please accept the Society's congratulations and our thanks for your contributions to hyperbaric medicine and dive safety. Before I tell you about our new class of interns and scholars, I want to take a moment to say a few thank yous. First, to our volunteers, I am eternally grateful. The Our World Underwater Scholarship Society is an all-volunteer organization, and our achievements have only been possible due to the hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm of our entire volunteer network. While it is impossible for me to individually thank everyone who has made the Society what it is today, there are two individuals who deserve individual recognition. Elvin Leach spearheaded the Society's expansion into Europe, and for a number of years served as Vice President of European Operations as well as Chairman of the Board. I also want to recognize Jane Jenkins, who led the charge on the Society's growth through Australasia and served as Vice President of Australasian Operations. At the Society's upcoming board meeting later this month, Elvin and Jane will be retiring after many years of loyal service to the Society. All of us in the Scholarship Society are truly grateful for your many years of leadership, guidance, and dedicated service. Thank you to everyone around the world who supports the Society with a common commitment to our planet's environment, research, preservation, and exploration. The Society is blessed to attract some of the diving community's most talented and educated people. Thank you to all of you who've contributed in time, talent, equipment, hospitality, and generosity, both of spirit and finances, to the continued success of the Society as a whole and our Scholars and Interns specifically. A more complete listing of our corporate sponsors and organizational partners can be found in the program book. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not thank Rolex, who has been our partner and key supporter since we awarded our first scholarship back in 1974. We are grateful to Rolex for their continued support as part of its Perpetual Planet initiative. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2021 class of Society Interns. Krista LaForest of the University of North Carolina, Wilmington will be receiving the American Academy of Underwater Sciences Mitchell Scientific Diving Research Internship. Amanda Ho of the University of California, Davis will be receiving the Dr. Lee H. Summers AAUS Scientific Diving Internship. Sarah Von Hohn of the University of Colorado Boulder will be receiving the National Park Service Research Internship. Mary Quinn of Wheaton College will be receiving the Dr. Jamie L. King Reef Environmental Education Foundation Marine Conservation Internship. And Benjamin Kistler of Indiana University Bloomington will be the first recipient of the Dr. Glenn H. Eggstrom DAN Divers Health and Safety Internship. In June 2020, the Board of Directors of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society voted unanimously to establish this internship in honor of Dr. Eggstrom, one of our founding directors of the Society. Congratulations to the 2021 interns. One of my duties as president is to represent the officers and directors of the Society as the awarding official of the scholarships. Of course, with the varying COVID restrictions around the world, things are a bit different this year. In just a few minutes, we will be visiting each region where the presentation of the scholarship was conducted locally. However, before we go there, I would like to provide you with some background on what each scholar receives. As Society President, I will provide each scholar with their credentials in the form of a letter of introduction, which they carry throughout the year. In addition, each scholar receives a scholar medal engraved with the Society logo. The scholars also receive a Society expeditionary flag that will be carried with them during all their experiences in the upcoming year. And now to the presentation of the Scholarship Awards. As is our tradition, we will present each award in the order of their creation. Our first presentation will begin in North America, then we will go to Europe, and finally to Australasia.
Greetings from Chicago, Illinois, birthplace of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society 47 years ago. On behalf of the officers and directors of the Scholarship Society, it's my very great honor to officially present the 2021 North American Rolex Scholar of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society, Jamil Wilson. Each Rolex Scholar also receives a certificate and a numbered Society expeditionary flag. Thank you, Roberta. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamil Wilson. Would you like to say a few words?
It's a belief of mine that the things that we fear in life tend to be the things that are the most worthwhile. My goals for this scholarship year are to discover more about underwater research, to promote diversity in marine conservation, and to inspire more diverse scuba divers. It is my deepest hope that through the Scholarship Society, I can exemplify that no matter how impossible or terrifying your dreams may seem, if you have the courage to take a step, that step will always outweigh standing still. I'd like to thank the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society for this amazing opportunity. I'd like to thank Rolex donors and sponsors, I'd also like to thank my scholarship coordinator, Allison Labonte, as well as my friends and family who have supported me thus far throughout my journey. I am so humbled to be the 2021 North American Rolex Scholar of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Howard Painter. I'm one of the European coordinators and also a US board member of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. And I'm here today at Jesus College, Oxford University to welcome Arzujan Ashkin as the 2021 Rolex Scholar of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. And here she is, and my first duty is to present her with a Scholar's Medal. And along with the Scholar's Medal, we have a certificate as a scholar, and finally the scholarship flag, which she'll take on all her experiences through the year. So, Arzujan, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Howard. I'm incredibly grateful to the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society for making this tremendous opportunity happen. I also want to express my thanks to Rolex, all the other sponsors, donors and hosts who will be with me along the way. And my biggest thank you goes to my family and friends who've supported me every step in the scholarship. I'm incredibly honored to be the OWSS European Rolex Scholar, particularly with the start of the UN Ocean Decade. I couldn't imagine a more exciting time to start the scholarship.
Hello everyone, we're coming to you from sunny Nelson at the top of the South Island in New Zealand. My name is Courtney Rays and I'm the 2014 Australasian Scholar. It is my privilege today to present to you the 2021 Australasian Rolex Scholar at Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. Coming all the way from Wanaka in New Zealand, please welcome Amelia Mannering.
I'm honoured and humbled to be selected as the 2021 Australasian Rolex Scholar for the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity and really excited to begin. Thank you all so much and looking forward to meeting you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2021 Rolex Scholars of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society, Jamil Wilson, Arzujan Ashkin, and Amelia Mannering. I'll close by thanking everyone for their unwavering moral and financial support over the past 47 years. We simply could not have done it without you. On behalf of all the scholars and interns, I thank everyone around the world who are sponsors, hosts, and volunteers who have kept the Society moving forward for the past 47 years and who will certainly keep the Society going forward for many years to come. In June 2022, we will bring the Society family together again from around the world and gather in New York City to welcome back this 2021 class of Scholars and Interns. I hope you will all plan to join us. Until then, please stay safe and stay well.